This site is called our N120 speedway. We also call it Darboy, even though we have two sites here now. So what we'd be looking at, of course, you have the logos that would go up there, and maybe in this case we should also look at standard building letters that we label all of our buildings. The city of Appleton requires it, other places don't, but we would want to label all of our buildings, you know, alphabetically if we don't do that already. So we might want to have something that doesn't necessarily combine the letters with the logo, but it allows, maybe you have something with the logo and then you paste the letter next to it on top of it or something, I don't know. But you have to anticipate letters about this size is good, and clarity about what's already here is good, but we want to anticipate letters in addition to the logo. Obviously the logo here is too small, and it's, I don't know if that's our new logo, or I think that's our new logo, but it's way too small. It just doesn't work. These buildings here have the smallest gable ends, and it was the smallest height from the peak of the roof to where the door height is. So anything that works here would work in terms of the size. If we make them as big as we can, reasonably, so they're branded. So that's kind of the idea, as which Darboy being a good example of letters and the logo. Then we have our big building here, which has temperature control. That's fine, but we want to look at maybe painting something on the building and getting better lighting for this building, this T building, so that it shows up more. And we have lights above it, but it's really too small. So a bigger, whether it's painted or whether it's a chloroplast sign, any of these signs that I say painted, if it's better to put a chloroplast sign up, you know, the plastic ones, and if they work, that's fine too. But the idea is to establish a really good presence, the biggest presence that the code will allow. Now here we don't have any lit sign other than maybe what that sign is, and we have kind of a crappy sign in the corner. So I don't know if a cab sign would be appropriate, or if a projecting sign, like you mentioned before, would be appropriate. I don't know. We'll go around and look at the corner. Well, let's go down. We'll go down the street and look at the end of the site here, because cars come from both directions, obviously. And so these buildings, you know, we would change at least these end caps out with the logos. We don't know if we would have to change them all out. Then we have this end of the building, or the east end. That's not our pylon sign, but we could put a pylon sign here, or I don't think we could put them on. This is our property right here, but we have to leave. It's a long story about this, but we wouldn't put a monument sign, but we could possibly put a pylon sign or a projecting sign from the buildings. I don't know about a pylon sign. It probably wouldn't work. Back here we don't need to do anything other than logos on the buildings and numbers on the or letters on the buildings. And coming from this direction, what would people see? Maybe we could put signs on two buildings. Wouldn't be a problem at all. Code allows it typically. They don't add them up. Treat them separately. This corner, we can see how we did our sign on the fence here, which we've typically replaced every other year. It kind of works, but it really is also not as big as maybe we would like. So think about what we could do in this corner here. Once we get on Speedway Lane, there's nothing to do other than once you're already here, we have our Apple storage information. Now, the next site, this is N120 or N143 Speedway Lane. You can see how we just sort of put some bullshit sign against the building, leaning. Anyway, so here we're going to be filling, you see that area there, we're going to be filling that, bringing it up to grade, maybe adding some buildings. So we would think about either an on-building sign or a monument sign or something if there were buildings coming this way that then people here would see. Now we might even do just what we did on the fence back there because it's still Apple storage. So we might not need as much visibility the same way as we do, because if people are on the corner, we could also, by the way, on the corner, we could tell people on the corner, we could say, oh, by the way, we have N143 right up the street. In other words,